Okay, Andy, we're doing an earlier edition of Blues TV this week. We'll come on to why that is in a minute. Can we just reflect back on last Saturday, because our players put in a 100% effort performance and lost.
Yeah, and lost obviously very heavily for those who've bothered to read any sort of press cuttings about it. Getting the team out in the first place was very hard work. We've got a couple of guys away on holiday. We've got some that had other commitments come up. And then we've had a huge catalogue of weird and wonderful injuries and very genuine ones. And Jack Taggart, we found out, was admitted to hospital on Thursday night and has had an operation on his hip. Tom Bax also went into hospital on Friday night and was therefore not available. And then Joe Carver had a family emergency, which meant that he couldn't come along. So we ended up going to Old Albanians with 16 players. 6 of those were front row forwards. All of them started the game. So clearly 3 of the front row forwards were playing effectively out of position, with Tom Fiddler and Nathan Thomas playing in the second row. And Alistair Widdop playing in the centre. And so, they gave it their best shot, and clearly that's hasn't been enough. And at the end of the game, it was pretty tough. Physically, they've taken a bit of a battering. Really concerned that the sort of psychological battering they're taking, and there was a few bits of emotion at the end, and you can't blame them. It just almost felt as if there was nothing they could do to stem the tide, and it's a real concern with 5 games to go that we're trying to regroup and finish the season, as I said, I think probably last week, with their heads held high, and it was hard work.
It was. Saturday then, we're playing Hinkley, and that should be a much more competitive match, shouldn't it?
Well, Hinkley just sit above us in the league, so they're second bottom. They've had a couple of heavy defeats themselves. They put in a reasonable performance at the weekend, but I think the weekend before they lost by a similar margin to we did at the weekend. And so I'm sure they're a little bit shell-shocked by the whole process. But we're not taking anything for granted. I mean, it's going to be a tough ask to have 1 week losing by 130 points to then try and put in a performance, regardless of who it's against, where you are able to win. There's some huge scars there, and somehow we need to get them away from that. And I think one of the reasons for doing this now is to just try and encourage however many people tap into this Blues TV to come and watch on Saturday. The club owes a huge debt of gratitude to this group of players. If they didn't continue to turn up in the numbers and the way that they did, then we would be in a real state. Regardless of any financial problems the clubs historically had, if you don't put a team out, then you incur all sorts of penalties from the RFU. And so we owe a great deal of gratitude to the guys that keep turning up. And after Saturday, there were some real emotions, and they quickly got over that. I sent them out a text about this weekend. They're all very positive about their state of fitness and their availability and the fact that they want to try and get a win. But it will be so much easier if they know that there's a big crowd who are behind them, because I think sometimes it can feel as if it's just you, the 15 players and the 5 replacements and maybe the coaching staff, against the rest of the world. And we're at home, and I know there's a good core following for home games, but I'm sure there's lots of people out there who have been to watch the team over the years, particularly when we played the likes of Harlequins and Northampton. And what we need now is those people to come back, even if it's just for this one game, to support the players. Do come and support. Don't go on about what it used to be like, or what it was like in their day. We're all very guilty, me included, of thinking back to the hazy days of when we were 20-something. And we've got a group of players out there, a young group of players, who are doing everything they can to hold the sort of flag of Newbury up, despite all the beatings they've been taking. and it would be really good if we could get a sizable crowd out there, getting behind them, and that might just be what they need to get over last week and put in a decent performance against Hinkley, and hopefully, yes, hopefully get another win, and that would just be a huge turnaround. Most teams in the country in any sport would take, to get beaten by that many one week, to win by whatever margin it'll be, and will be huge.
Yeah, and I know the supporters have got huge admiration for how everyone's kept going, particularly on Saturday. And I hope we get a great crowd on Saturday because they deserve it.
Pass the word on.